God says the roles have reversed. This message is for somebody who has stepped into a season where you now have authority over the people who have had authority over you and misused it. It could be because they saw the favor that God had on your life even when you didn't see it. Okay. Or maybe you did see it, but they misused you because they knew that you were going to be elevated at some point. The spirits in them knew that you would be elevated at some point, and they were sent on assignment to try to prevent that, to abort the mission that God had for you. I'm reminded of Joseph in the Bible. If you're not familiar with Joseph's story, go read Genesis chapter 37 through 50. It explains everything that happened to Joseph before he was elevated to a position of authority over those who misused him. Joseph was given a coat of many colors by his father that made his brothers jealous. Joseph shared with his brothers a dream that God gave him, that in the future his brothers would bow down to him. Joseph shared that dream. His brothers weren't happy about the dream, okay? And they ended up coming up with a plan to get rid of Joseph. They ended up deciding to throw him in a pit, and he was taken out of the pit, taken into slavery in the land of Egypt, okay? And in Egypt, Joseph went through many trials. Now, even though he had this dream, Joseph was thrown in prison for many years. He was elevated not to his final position, but he was elevated to a position in Potiphar's house. And Potiphar was a man who had a lot of authority in Egypt. Potiphar's wife tried to set Joseph up, lied on him, ended up getting Joseph thrown into prison because she said he tried to take advantage of her. Even though Joseph ran away, he did the right thing, but he was still lied on and he was still thrown in prison. And after years of being in prison, his gift was refined. He used his gift because he was a dreamer. Okay. And people kept forgetting about him. Go read it. Genesis chapter 37 through 50. Eventually, Joseph was remembered. Somebody went to Pharaoh and told Pharaoh when Pharaoh had a situation going on and he had some dreams and he didn't understand what it meant. He called for all his people who were supposed to be able to interpret his dreams, and no one could interpret it but Joseph. I'm here to tell you, you're being elevated to a position where no one can do what you do quite like you do it, which is the reason why God is elevating you. If this message is for you, you are stepping into a season now where God is calling on you to use the gifts that He has developed in you and refined in you when you were thrown in the pit, betrayed by your family or friends, if that happened to you, where you were lied on, where you were mistreated, where you were put away and forgotten for years in a filthy environment like a prison. Okay, Joseph was in a dungeon, but he was elevated to second in command over all of Egypt. The only person over Joseph was Pharaoh. His dream came to pass, and his brothers needed to come to him and ask for help. They found out that he wasn't dead after all. But the point is that's what's getting ready to happen to you. They tried to take you out, but guess what? You've risen. They're about to find out that everything that they have tried to do to destroy you has not worked. If anything, it only prepared you for the place that God is taking you. So I'm here to tell you, God says the roles have reversed. Those who misuse their authority over you, you now are in a position of authority over them. And that doesn't mean that you're necessarily, if it's a job that you're going to be the boss and that they're going to report to you, it could be. It doesn't necessarily mean that now you're in charge of your whole family and now you're the matriarch or the patriarch. It could just mean that now you have the finances. Other people are going to want to come to you to ask you for help. Some of these people denied you help when you needed the help. It's up to you to go to God and pray about what He wants you to do in that particular situation. But what I can tell you to do is to forgive. Forgive doesn't mean that you have to let people back in your life and all that kind of stuff, but it does mean forgive. Become free of that. Shed that old skin. Shed that unforgiveness, the bitterness, the pain. Shed it so that you can step into the position of authority that God has placed you in, even if it's just in your business. All right. Whatever God has called you to, He's putting you in a position of leadership. Do the right thing. If this message is for you, please let me know in the comments. I want to know who God is speaking to. Let me know if this is you. Lay claim to this word. If you believe it's for you, say, I receive it, Lord. If you know it's for you, lay claim to it, because now you are being elevated to the position that God has planned for you and gave you a dream about many years ago. I love you guys. Talk to you later.